Turn your radio up. Whoa. Radio time. Whoa. You're now listening to Street Apologists. Street Apologists. Street Apologists. Street Apologists. On the radio. Street Apologists. Street Apologists. Street Apologists. Street Apologists. Whoa. On the radio.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Street Apologists Live. I'm your host, Vocab Malone. Go ahead and grab that link and share it. Hit that like button, please. Gonna have Adam Coleman as a guest today as we ask and answer the question, who is the NFAC and who is Grandmaster Jay? That's the question on Street Apologists Live. Here we go. All right, we are live set up. Sorry, we had a couple false starts. Don't know what that was all about, but we basically have already done our intro, but it's over on Facebook, so you have to look at it over there. So, Adam Coleman, how do people find you, and what kind of stuff do you do? And we're going to get the show on the road right away by showing some clips of the NFAC and Grandmaster Jay. But first, tell everybody who you are, what you do, bro.
Yeah, well, y'all know what it is, man. It's your hometown hero, the real Adam Coleman. Host of True ID Podcast and True ID Apologetics. So y'all can check me out at trueidpodcast.com. It's truidpodcast.com. And True ID Apologetics, TRUID Apologetics here on YouTube. And that's also the website name. So I'm glad to be back, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm in here one more again, man. Glad to be here, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you tell everybody what does NFAC stand for?
Oh, yeah, it stands for not forgetting about Christ. I'm pretty sure that's what it stands for.
Is that what it stands for?
I'm pretty sure that's what it stands for, bro, yeah.
Well, I can't get you to say it.
No, I don't think so, man. I'll bow out on that one, bro.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. It stands for the Not and Around Coalition.
Right.
So
not effing around.
Yeah, the Not Around Coalition, censored, right. Which is not fooling around coalition, but it's a rated R version of fooling around. All right.
Right.
So the NFAC made national headlines over the weekend, and the date was Saturday, so July 4th, and they did multiple demonstrations or rallies, kind of gun rallies, and people are not used to seeing a black militia. I think that was one thing, because that's sort of what the NFAC is. And I think people also were thrown aback by some of the unorthodox things that the leader, Grandmaster Jay, had said. And I saw his YouTube subscriber count go from about 1,000 to 17,000 over the course of a weekend.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And so Grandmaster Jay is the leader of the NFAC.
I think did he refer to himself as the HNIC or the NFAC? Did he?
Oh, did he? I don't know. I mean, I could see that.
I feel like you might have.
Yeah. So that's who they are, and we're gonna try to give an Christian urban apologetics view of the situation. So we don't trust the media, but we also don't trust other sources. And so we have to kind of piece things together to try to find out what the worldview issues are here. And so we view this show today, not trying to be sensationalistic. The content itself, in a way, is sensationalistic. You know, they said they're going to where the birthplace of the Klan is to take the fight to them, and they wanted to have a gun battle with rednecks and stuff like that. And yes, we are going to play clips, so you're going to see what I'm talking about. That's sort of sensationalistic, although it really is just another day in 2020. You know what I mean?
2020 is sensationalistic, just in general.
Yeah, right. Seriously. And so, there's that reality. And so we do want to exegete the cultural moment as Christian apologists. So, Adam, what did you hear about this before I hit you with new stuff? Like, what was your initial sort of basic reading of this, and what have you kind of got since then? But what was your initial thoughts on this from what you did hear about it?
Yeah, funny enough, man. Like, so I saw. I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw something militia seeing some dudes in all black. And to be honest with you, I just assumed that it was a group of white dudes. To be honest with you, because I mean, to be honest, I'm being real. I'm being real. You know, like I was like, another bunch of
because we haven't really seen something like this since the days of the Black Panthers.
Yeah, it's very true, very true. And we had that demonstration a couple of years ago over at in Charlottesville, where you had the dudes marching around. So I'm like, this is kind of how they get down.
Right.
So I just honestly didn't. I just kind of kept scrolling. I wasn't paying any.
Another day in alt-right wing militias, right?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, actually, aside from that, what was it? That other one? It was like Oregon or something like that. Where there was some sort of wild.
Where those guys got arrested.
Yeah, they were like I guess I don't know what the right term is. They fortified themselves in some sort of a national park, something or other. I mean, that was like
about back in the day.
You're
talking about recently?
3 years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago.
I don't know. Anyways, keep on going.
Anyway, so my whole point is like, from what I'm accustomed to, I saw militia and just assumed that it was a bunch of black dudes. I definitely didn't see that coming. But then when you hit me up, I was like, for real? I was like, that's kind of wild.
Once I told you the name, I think you knew it was a different kind
yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think the name gave it away. The not blanking around crew. I was like,
coalition.
Coalition. I keep saying crew.
The not effing around coalition led by Grandmaster Jay.
Grandmaster Jay, right? This is a whole different militia.
Yeah. This ain't Randy and Bubba.
No, this is not your grandma's.
This is not your grandma's gun club. Yeah, this is not your grandma's militia.
No, it's not.
Now, because we're going to criticize some of this before we criticize it. Let me say something, and I'm sure you might want to say something. I'm not afraid of black militias, right? So I just want everyone to know this show's not about, we should be afraid merely because of the fact. And I'm not like the hardcore Second Amendment guy, but I'm a Second Amendment guy, meaning I'm not going to donate to the NRA. But I'm a Second Amendment guy. But you see, so I think that's important, is what I'm saying. And I'm not just making it about personal preference. I mean, I think that's an important thing in the Bill of Rights. So I'm glad when we see that kind of thing. And I see some historical precedent. The Black Panthers, to me, were a real mixed bag. And so there's good and bad. And part of what they're trying to do, you could argue was successful or not, whatever, a different conversation. Part of what they're trying to do, the best reading of them, is to police the police, which Lord knows needed to be done in Oakland and everywhere else, and not just back then, maybe now. So I get down with all that to a high level, boom, boom, boom. Plus, I saw a movie that I love that's based upon a real thing, which is called Deacons for Defense, and I love that movie. And it's about black churchmen arming themselves, protect themselves from different dangers, such as Klan affiliate type things in the South. It's based on a real story, really dope story. And whenever they would cock their shotgun, they'd be like, "Deacons for Defense." I mean, it's like
that's gangster right there.
You gotta watch that movie. I think it had Forrest Whitaker. I think it was in the '60s is when it was set. Yeah, good.
Is that on Netflix?
I didn't see it on Netflix, but I don't know. I
definitely want to check it. I heard about it. I mean, well, the thing is, and I'm with you. Now, granted, I recognize that there's room for debate among sincere Christians on the issue of weapons and so forth. I used to be an anti-Second Amendment guy.
What's wrong with you? Is that because of all the militia stuff? Is that why?
No, I mean, I don't know if we want to get into this now or not. I mean, I guess we can, but it's
all right.
I mean, we can. It's up to you.
But because that's not really the show's about. Basically, where are you at now? How about that?
Where I'm at now is that I've got a family, you know what I'm saying? And I understand better than when I was 21, the importance of being able to defend your family, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm a Second Amendment guy. And with that being said, under normal circumstances, I would, advocate for African Americans to, at least explore or understand their Second Amendment rights at very least, you know what I'm saying? Obviously we're living in a very tense time. So, some things, go into, what's the appropriate way to, go around with your weapon right now. But, generally speaking, I'm not an anti-gun guy. I'm really not, so it'd be, I think that'll kind of factor into some things I say later. But
makes sense. So, your situations change, your world experience change, and your politics change. So, that's a reality. I mean, I'm in Arizona. So go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
No, go ahead.
I'm going to say, the 30-second version is I was married, and one day, somehow we had left the front door open. And this wind blows the door open, and just with this loud bang. It's 2 a.m. So I go down the steps with this baseball bat. me. I was like, you know what? If I was going to break into somebody's house, I probably wouldn't break in with a baseball bat. You know what I'm saying? So I'm coming down, I'm bringing a baseball bat to a gunfight. And at that point, the next day, I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and rectify this situation. That's my story. I hope my mom's not watching this. But anyway.
No, that's real, man. And, you know, in Arizona, I mean, people have an idea of cowboys, and there's some truth to that. But I live in Phoenix. I mean, most of the dudes I know who are walking around with legal straps, and sometimes even on the outside, it's mainly black and Hispanic dudes. You know what I mean? Like, those are mainly the guys who kind of got my back. Because, you know, so, like, there's sort of a culture here that's, I think, pretty responsible, in my opinion, with all that. I'm not saying everything's perfect, whatever. I'm just saying that I see a lot of responsible people, and, you know, there's a lot of protection, basically, where in most places that you go here. Now, we're not trying to make it all about that. We're just trying to get some comments out the way, everybody. So this is not about we are afraid of black folks with guns. I mean, there's some people who I think that's a real issue for them, because I think, and some people will not like me saying this, but some people I think fear blackness, and I think they fear empowered blackness. Now, some people are like, well, vocab, you got to break down those definitions. Well, not really, not today, I don't have time. But I don't think we need to be in that state, right? And let me also say this, is that we want to have equal scales. Now, I haven't looked into this, but my understanding, Adam, is that California, I think Alfredo's joining us. I hear you, bro. California, I guess, passed a bunch of strict gun laws back in the 60s because Reagan was mad. And I may have my timelines off, so please excuse me, everybody. But my understanding, the way I've heard it, and I got to look into it because I don't know if this narrative is correct. But basically, the Panthers walking around with guns made people mad, including supposedly Ronald Reagan. Then they pushed for hard gun laws in California, and supposedly the version I hear is that was the only time the NRA backed gun restrictions. And so some of the laws today in California reflect that history. Now, it probably would happen eventually in California anyway. But nonetheless, with all that being said, that's not equal weights and measures, if that's the way it happened, right? And I think some people might still be in that mentality. That's not what the show's about, though. Go ahead.
Right. I think you're absolutely right. My understanding is that I think there was an armed protest, and by armed I mean they just had weapons on them. But I think it was at the Capitol building, if I'm not mistaken, and I think that was kind of like the final straw in California that prompted Reagan to really just crack down on gun laws. And you're right. I think the NRA, didn't come to the aid, if you will, of African Americans in that instance, or really kind of get behind protecting those rights in California. And I think is interesting too. I mean, to your point, on the side of the law, we need to have equal scales, but then also I think in the media, that needs to be checked for as well, because some of those incidents I mentioned a minute ago with the militias that I think was out there in Oregon, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that, or maybe it's Montana. But anyway, you'll see individuals like that, referred to as patriots, referred to as, a militia, and so in terms that are not explicitly negative. People kind of reserve, negative terms for people that look like me. You know what I'm saying? And there's all this, concern and all these kind of things. And so I think even in the media, we have to be careful who's referred to as a thug and who's referred to as a patriot, because that can then, turn a narrative and right. Change some events as well.
Now, so, here's what we got to say, I think, before going further. That's our principles going forward, everybody.
Right.
Now, with the NFAC, there's a specific set of issues that I think we take the same principles into that discussion, but there's some issues. And I'm going to start off playing some clips by Grandmaster Jay, the leader, the organizer of this. And I'm going to show you video later of the actual rally at Stone Mountain, which I think if you have not heard about this, you're going to find it shocking, and you're going to find tonight's show, I think, illuminating either way. Alfredo, we don't have a picture for you. Can you I can hear you. Can you say something real quick, bro? Alfredo, are you with us? I see a blank Skype picture. I don't know what's going on. If you hear from Alfredo, let me know. I see a blank Skype screen, which seems like it would indicate he's on.
I see his face, yeah.
You see his face?
I'm sorry, I see a picture.
Oh, yeah.
So either his picture or he's frozen. It's one of the two.
Yeah, try to find out what's up. Maybe he can hang up and call back. We'll get into that. So I'm going to play some stuff right away. Everyone, there is going to be some cursing tonight. I'm going to start off with a couple clips, though, that I think are important.
From you or me? Which one of us is
From Grandmaster Jay. Unless I can get you to break down the acronym NFAC just at one time. All right, so here we go. Let me see if this is the right clip. This is the right clip. All right, so Adam, you probably won't be able to hear this if it was like it was before the show, but I'll break it down what's being said. But if you can switch over and then mute yourself, I'll mute you temporarily, Adam. And then listen on the other end, and then let me switch so it's my picture. Whenever we do a lot going on, sometimes it takes a little bit to make it happen. So listen to this. This is from the Facts Over Feelings Spear of Yahweh YouTube broadcast that our guy Grandmaster Jay had done, where he speaks about this. This is a 59-second clip. I put this on my IG earlier. So he does say some troubling things, and I'm going to play one of them right from the jump. You guys ready for this? Now, I'm going to tell you the context of this, but here we go. 3, 2, 1.
And tonight, I want to deal with the Spear of Yahweh because I have to talk a little bit about this killing. You see, y'all ready to go with me to go march off and shoot up some white folks, and that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We can tear up some shit later. But before we can do that, we at least got to start working on our own people. Now, here's why. Watch what I'm about to say. Most people don't know this, and I'm speaking to just those of us who are considered to be part of the black community. If y'all roll with me for a second. And we may have to take a break. I know we're about to come up on the first hour, and I'm so glad you could come hang out. We Facts Over Feelings. We do this every other weekend or when shit pops off and we feel we need to get together to separate the facts from the bullshit. So, we got our own problems internally. But one of the ones we got to deal with is our black on black crime. Let me talk about this for a second.
So, I'm going to play the beginning of that one more time. There you see he's trying to be, I guess, even-handed. But in the course of this discussion of what he's going to have about black on black crime, now, again, this is his words, what he's saying. Grandmaster Jay, from the official Grandmaster Jay page here, he says this, and I'm going to quote it to you just in case you didn't hear it here, everybody. Because, you can't, it seems like it could be problematic to say this kind of stuff, okay? This is an understatement. But he literally says, y'all ready to go with me to march off and shoot up some white folks, and that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We can tear up some ish later. Now, I mean, guys like this, you got to kind of, at least for me, I find them to be characters, but they might be dangerous characters. Now, the thing is, though, I've been listening to him for a while, the past weekend, right? And he sometimes is somewhat balanced. Sometimes he comes across as very balanced and thoughtful and careful and safe and cautious. And I'm telling you, you may say, what are you talking about, Vocab? I try to give people a fair shake. I'm telling you about what I've listened to, okay? And reasonable, rational, intelligent. Like sometimes he sells himself as what he's doing, simply as policing the police and protecting the community. And I think we can get behind that. At least some people. I know there's going to be debate with that too. But here he says, this don't sound right. Listen to this one more time, okay?
And tonight, I want to deal with the Spear of Yahweh because I have to talk a little bit about this killing. You see, y'all ready to go with me to go march off and shoot up some white folks. And that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We can tear up some shit later.
You got to explain what you mean when you say stuff like that, Grandmaster Jay. You got to explain what you mean by that. It's going to create some problems. All right, so I don't know if you heard that there, Adam Coleman.
You caught me while I was trying to listen to it, but yeah.
Well, I played it twice.
Yeah, no, I heard the first time with the black and black crime, right?
You didn't hear the beginning, the main part? He says this, y'all ready to go with me to go march off and shoot up some white folks, and that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We can tear up some ish later.
Right.
And then he says, but first we have to talk about black and black crime. So it's almost like he's like, order! First point of order, black on black crime. Second point, let's go shoot up some white folks because ain't nothing wrong with that. Meeting adjourned. Let's go. Tear some ish up.
You got a very simple agenda. You know what I'm saying? Very just 2 points, a 2-step agenda right here, man.
Step 1, minimize black and black crime. Step 2, initiate black and white crime.
Right. I saw Alfredo a second ago, and now I actually dipped out.
Let me see. I'll try to see if I can call
see if you can call him. That might work better. But what do we say there? Because that's well, I mean, one thing I definitely want to kind of, I guess, get out there, and this might be another just leading principle in terms of why we're doing this, is that obviously, and this will become more apparent as the video goes on, but this dude is not functioning from a biblical framework.
Oh no, he is not. Now he tries to say he is though, but he is not.
Somebody in the chat said, and I'm not trying to be funny, I don't know, maybe this guy was being sarcastic. He said something for a Christian Grandmaster. He sure has a foul mouth or something like that. I'm pretty sure he said that. Now I don't know if that person's being sarcastic, but right. I mean, I don't know. Do we need to clarify that this guy Grandmaster Jay is not a Christian?
He is not a Christian. So I'm gonna go ahead and just a little bit here. I'm gonna go ahead right now and show my hand. I'm gonna exaggerate a little bit to make it quotable. Every single alternative urban spirituality. What I mean is every heresy that's come through the city. This guy has ingested from the past generation. Whatever it was, he took it up, ate it, kept it. And then he regurgitated it on 2020.
Yes.
That's exactly what's happening with this guy. So this guy is not a Christian. He's not a Hebrew Israelite, but he does have things that would look Christian. Sometimes he could sound like a Christian if you listen to certain parts of him, but then he has other parts that could sound like a Hebrew Israelite, but he'll do it while he's wearing the Eye of Ra.
Yeah, it was super weird. I picked that up too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, can you explain real quick the Eye of Ra and some of the symbolism you saw this guy have in some of the other videos? And I'm going to set up another clip and see what's up with Alfredo.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at Alfredo right now. Did you want to bring him in? Or
he is here.
Oh, yeah. Did they see him? Okay, cool.
I just see the Skype symbol. Alfredo, let's see if we can
hear him. He's waving.
You can actually see him?
He's waving right now.
Can you hear me?
I can
hear him. Yeah.
We can hear you. We can hear you, but all I see is the Skype symbol from you for some reason.
It's like he's communicating from the great beyond or something. I don't know, man.
Vocab. Vocab.
Let me see, bro. I don't know why I cannot.
It's because I'm Puerto Rican, right? That's what it is.
Oh, snap.
Let me try
I'm Puerto Rican.
Oh, well, let me. Okay. I'm messing around with some buttons. Hey!
Yeah, it was good.
All right, we got you, bro. All right, so comment on what we've been saying so far, Alfredo. Since there's 3 of us on here, you guys, if you could, especially you, Alfredo, but a little bit you, Adam, back up a tad, because when it's split 3, it looks like you're super close like that. And back up we can. And then
look at Adam.
Back the heck up before we get smacked.
Hey.
All right, so what do you
think?
think?
Vocab is not
family show.
I'm NFAC tonight, bro. Hey, so what's going on, Alfredo? We've been talking a little bit about, we just clarifying, guy's not a Christian. Yeah, so here's what we've established so far, Alfredo. Not afraid of black dudes with guns, number 1. Number 2, these dudes, though, specifically Grandmaster Jay, do say some troubling things while they have their guns and prior. Number 3, dude's not a Christian. He's a syncretist, and we're talking about some of the Egypt symbolism right now that he's got going on. So,
did you talk about the bronze book yet?
We have not talked about it yet.
Okay. Now he's you remember I think it was Issa Rae when she went to the Oscars and they asked who are your favorites to win, and she's like, I'm rooting for everybody black, right? I feel like from a theological perspective, that's exactly what he's doing.
Right.
He's like, whatever spiritual paradigm that seems to uplift and affirm blackness, I'm gonna co-sign it, regardless if they work within each other. Like if there's an appearance of an affirmation of blackness within a spiritual context, he's with it. He signs it off, you know, and that's it's an urban syncretism. Like what you said, it's been happening for, I mean, X-Clan, you know, a lot of these dudes, you know, from New York, it's like they pepper their rhymes with everything. It's 5% talk, it's Hebrew Israelite talk, They'll throw a little, Eastern Star talk, a little masonry, because it makes the bar sound fly. And that's what he's doing. Those who are not aware of what he's doing, it sounds very appealing. It sounds like he's very knowledgeable and very deep. But all he's doing is he's cooking this theological jumbo for people to take, So it's nothing new.
Yeah, and so you want to share any of the things that you saw particularly while we're saying that about him?
Yeah, so you showed me you showed me his Instagram account. I was watching this, I think it was his last broadcast before he went and did the protest with the guns, right?
Right.
And the first thing I saw was he's a Star Wars fan.
yeah, he is.
Because in the bag he has these Star Wars pictures. But what I didn't know, and you put me onto it, he took photos of his face and put it in front of like Luke Skywalker, and so he's literally in Star Wars, right?
Yeah. So
and then the second,
BK, everybody pointed out, hey, look, check out this guy. He's a Star Wars fan, right? But then I pointed out, hey, look closely at that poster. He put his own face over Luke Skywalker's face on the poster, like he's in the Star Wars poster, like. So, he's a character.
So that's like, it's sci-fi appropriation? Is that what he's doing? He's doing sci-fi.
So what else did you notice?
And then the second row was tons of Bibles. He had like an NIV. He had a Message Bible, right? But then as I was listening to him, and he pulls out, like, well, you heard enough of me talking. Let's hear Yahweh talk. So I'm like, oh, is he going to pull out one of those Bibles? Mm-hmm. But he pulls out this thing called the Bronze Book of Ancient Kemet. And I'm like, what in the world is that? So I did a little research, and they sell it on Amazon, right? It's called the Egyptian Text of the Bronze Book, the first 6 books of the Kolbrin Bible, right? And there's a quick blurb here in Amazon. It says the Egyptian text of the first 6 books of the Kolbrin Bible is all that remains of a 3,600-year-old anthology penned by Egyptian academians and scribes after the Hebrew Exodus, the result of a regional search for the one true God of Abraham, and offers alternate accounts of Exodus and Noah's flood.
So the idea is supposed to be the Egyptian side of what happened before and during and after the Hebrew Exodus, and their struggle to supposedly come to monotheism from it. And
then it says,
it's all, just so everyone knows, it's all poppycock. It's fraudulent.
Right,
it ain't real.
Written in Egyptian hieratic, first translated to Phoenician and then into English, it describes a planet the Egyptians called the Destroyer. According to recently translated Sumerian text, this object, also known as Nibiru or Planet X, is in a 3,600-year orbit around our sun. The Egyptians say it caused Noah's flood and the plagues of Exodus. Like the Sumerians and Mayans also warn us of its imminent return and of yet another biblical tribulation.
Your connection, is there any way to improve it? You're breaking up a little bit, Adam. Do you notice?
No, I'm on Wi-Fi right now. I'm not home, so this is about as good as it gets.
Okay, all right. Well, it's all good. All right, it is what it is. Well, let me play some clips because I think people want to see what we're talking about in regards to his syncretism. So here's the next clip I'm going to play, everybody, from our friend here. So again, we haven't played the actual video yet, but we are going to. Okay, so just give it a second, everybody. We're going to play the actual video of them at Stone Mountain here in a second. I just want to make sure until everybody came in.
Did you refer to him as our friend? Is that what you said?
Yeah, our friend Grandmaster Jay. Yeah,
our homie, the big homie.
Yeah, the big homie Grandmaster Jay. I mean, he is an old school hip hop head. I mean,
Grandmaster.
It's a Grandmaster.
Come on, let's go to work.
Grandmaster. You know, he cuts much faster. Disaster. Grandmaster. Hey. All right, so what it is I've noticed some Hebrew Israelites have been tracking him. And what I mean is they've been paying attention to some of his broadcasts and taking out clips. And some of them are like, hey, yo, this guy knows he's a Hebrew. Others are saying he's a paid agent. Others are saying that, he's a rogue. You got all these different opinions within the Hebrew Israelite community. And it makes sense because he himself is a mixed bag. But I'm going to play this particular thing that lets you know he does have Hebrew Israelism in the mix. Listen to this, everybody. All right. Just going to turn up here.
I said that. And I don't make threats. So I'm not breaking no laws by threatening anybody. But I do make promises. And all I had to do was wait for you Edomites to make that mistake. because some of y'all just don't get it. So by threatening anybody. So I'm not breaking no laws by threatening anybody, but I do make promises. And all I had to do was wait for you Edomites to make that mistake, because some of y'all just don't get it.
So let me explain real quick some of the context here. The idea is, Alfredo, what I'm going to do is, if you can, while I play the clip, if you can switch over and listen to the broadcast, I'll play it one more time so you can actually hear it. I'm sorry, for some reason you guys can't hear it on through that. I'm sorry. But I'll play it one more time. It's only a 40-second clip, and you can listen to it from the show. So I'm going to do that in a second here, bro. So, again, this is Grandmaster Jay, the leader of the NFAC coalition. And what does he say? He refers to Edomites. And my understanding of the context is, supposedly, I guess some clan said today we're going to start killing folks or attacking black folks at a certain time. And he was like saying, okay, well, I'm gonna retaliate. You're gonna see a clip where he's gonna say we're an eye for an eye organization. And so what he's saying is, I was ready and I was just waiting for some of you. But he doesn't say white people. He doesn't say crack. He doesn't say all the stuff you could say. He says Edomites. That is Hebrew Israelism's slur for white people. He's using that. So this is why I think it's helpful, everybody. Why do I go around with this idea of saying Hebrew Israelism? A big reason is to recognize it's an ideology, and you can embrace certain aspects of the ideology without necessarily being an adherent, because it's confusing. The Hebrew Israelites would say, oh, he's a Hebrew Israelite because we're, they're not really Jakes, we're really Israelites. I mean, they're going to think of it that kind of weird way, right? We don't accept their premise, so he's not a Hebrew Israelite proper. But Grandmaster Jay, clearly, it's undeniable, has adopted tenets of Hebrew Israelism. And this is 2020, everybody. My prediction is we're going to see more of these kind of weird, wacky groups that are going to have all this smorgasbord of these different aspects, and including Hebrew Israelism. And I think it's a bad mixture, like what you're going to see with the NFAC. For all the promise of what they could have been, when you see what they are, I think it's disappointing. Now I'm going to play this clip again so you guys can hear it one more time, because he clearly says Edomites. Here we go. And this is from a Hebrew Israelite page. They actually took this out, so I actually saw it.
I said that
on their page.
And I don't make threats, so I'm not breaking no laws by threatening anybody. But I do make promises. And all I had to do was wait for you Edomites to make that mistake, because some of y'all just don't get it. So by threatening anybody. So I'm not breaking no laws by threatening anybody, but I do make promises. And all I had to do was wait for you Edomites to make that mistake, because some of y'all just don't get it.
All right, so there's that. And hold on, guys, because just give me a second here. I'm going to... Let me see if this is the one. Let's see if this is the one I want to do here. Hold on just a second here. I'm going to show you guys something here. I believe this is it. Another clip. Yeah, I think this is it. All right. Let's listen to some more.
That's what y'all came for. But I need y'all to travel with me. I'm in chapter 15 now. We're still in the first book of Enoch. I'm going to drop down for y'all who, this is not in the Bible. So when I hear certain individuals from some of these groups that come out with all these names, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I respect everybody. I respect the church.
Real quick, let me stop there. So notice what he's doing again here. He's going to read from Enoch. So he likes these extra biblical sources. But the reason why I'm playing this particular clip is to show you that, but to also show you he's going to name drop a bunch of old school Hebrew Israelite groups in the process. And it just shows you he clearly has an awareness of the field. So listen to this.
Respect everybody. I respect the Church of the Living God, the pillar ground of truth and all.
Those are the two original Hebrew Israelite organizations. Now, I know some of y'all don't know that. They're not One West organizations. These are the old school ones. So he's aware of them. Notice it's funny, though. He's like kind of being sort of a strange like pluralist here. And it's ironic if you listen to the background track, it's Common. The light, which is funny because Common is sort of a Christian-ish. I'm not saying, proper, but Christian-ish as far as his influence. Pluralist relative as himself. And the background track he's got when he's talking is a Common track. But listen to this one more time.
Now, we're still in the first book of Enoch. I'm going to drop down for y'all who, this is not in the Bible. So when I hear certain individuals from some of these groups that come out with all these names, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I respect everybody. I respect the Church of the Living God, the Pillar Ground of Truth in All Nations, the Church of God and the Saints of Christ, the Commandant's Keepers, the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem, all these different groups.
Dude's a little weird. I usually don't bang on people for pronunciation because I have my own issues with pronunciation, but bruh, this one was odd. This man just said the Commandant's Keepers. He means the commandment keepers. I'm strong like a Russian bear. The Commandant Keepers. We drink vodka and whiskey, wrestle hairy women on Friday, fight bear on Tuesday.
That's the Russian spinoff of the Commandment Keepers.
Yeah, the Commandant Keepers.
That was Abba Bavinsky.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? That was
Abba Bavinsky. Abba Bavinsky. Abba Bavinsky. Oh man, I'm strong like a Russian bear. I give my baby vodka for juice. You know, it's like, oh hey, real quick, shout out to Shawnee Miller. She said, does his shirt say Revelation 12? Boom, Shawnee, I actually did not see that. And so, I mean, I'm sitting here looking at this video, and it's clear as day, but I actually didn't notice it. So good call, Shawnee. You win some kind of award here. You know what? You get an applause. And I'm going to bring you guys up.
He's like the Bruce Lee of, like, conscious communities. Like, you know, like with Jeet Kune Do, how Bruce Lee, like, mixed all the different martial arts together, like, you know what I mean? That's kind of, I guess that's his approach, man. He's trying to cover all bases.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's on Bruce Lee right now.
Yeah, good point, Adam. Exactly, and even with the shades and everything. But even
he's kind of got that Morpheus look to him. You know, they kind of remind me of Morpheus.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what he was going for. You know what I'm saying?
And notice his shirt says Revelation 12 with the eye of Ra and a pyramid in the background. This is his syncretism on full display, and of course, it makes it even funnier. Nike on the other side. Capitalism too, baby. He's got it. Everything.
He's hedging his bets. He's hedging his bets, baby.
And it's Grandmaster Jay talking about First Enoch. So this kind of gives you an insight. Okay, we're trying to have fun with it, you know, but we're at the same time, this is serious analysis. I hope you guys can understand we're doing everything at once. But notice, it is interesting. He named the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem, the two original, some of the oldest Hebrew Israelite organizations in the United States of America, along with the Commandant Keepers, which he means the Commandment Keepers, which is the group that One West came out of. So he's actually clearly familiar with like the sort of essence of this movement, right? But notice he is saying it in a way that would let you know he is saying he is not that, because he's saying I respect that as well. Yet the same man says things like Edomites and other Hebrew Israelite stuff that I'm going to show you. So just hold on. Let me show you one other clip here from this particular one. I hope I nail this right. And then I'm going to bring you guys back up because we can hear your voice, but we can't see everyone's face yet. But we'll get there.
But what we do know is that they are a different creature. What do you think you're going to call?
Okay, here you go.
Pledging brotherhood to the brothers and sisters over here. You see, it's got to be bad, y'all, when people in other countries ready to jump in the fight to help you whip their ass because they see how they doing you. Now, I know we got some folks out there who think that they pretty learned, and they'll say, well, why do you call yourself black? I've explained this once before. I'm going to tell you again, really, you can't call yourself nothing. All of y'all sitting out there swearing up and down that you know who you are. You don't know who you are. They did a great job at erasing our entire memory of who the hell we really was, what our names really are. They even erased what we used to call ourselves. So you can sit there and play that silly ass game with me if you want to, when the actual meaning of the word Kemet is land of the blacks. So I guess they was wrong too. But then when you really stop and think about it, okay, let's just take the color black and put it over here. Okay, and let's not attach ourselves to a country, because when you call yourself by a country name, that's not a phenotype. That's not a species. So don't call yourself that. We can call them Caucasoids. We can call them white people. We can call them whip crackers. We can call them anything. But what we do know is that they are a different creature. What do you think you're going to call yourself?
So a lot of funny stuff. They are a different creature. We could call them, and he made the little symbol of the whip. He did it. We could call them whip crackers. But I'm gonna play this. Hold on. I'm gonna play a little bit more of this. I see Adam smiling, but hold on. We're gonna play a little bit more of this. So this is entertaining, but it also could be scary because this dude's walking around with dudes talking about. I mean, you'll see. Just hold on.
I'll wait. I will be glad to wait. If you really want to do some studying, if I can really take you back, then you can go ahead and try and trace your bloodline back into 3 places. Either A, you're going to trace your bloodline to find out you didn't come from nowhere. You came from right here in the United States. You just one of the lucky ones that they didn't kill. You see, those people fought. That's why they killed them. They wasn't going to be no slaves in their own fucking land. Then they said, okay, well, we can't use them. Then we'll go over here and get these other motherfuckers from Africa. And so that's when they went over there with motherfucking Portuguese and start pulling y'all up out of there. Now, here come the crazy part. If you didn't come from there, you came from South America. Now, I know all the Latinos will get all bent the fuck out of shape, but see, you don't know your bloodline and your lineage either. Because at the end of the motherfucking day, the original 12 tribes that everybody claimed that they are part of, if you really know their history, white people is not the first ones to enslave those folks that were enslaved in America. They was enslaved by the Greeks. They was enslaved by the Portuguese. They was enslaved by the Persians. They've been every time they was enslaved by the Egyptians.
He's trying to say, I know it's a little bit confusing. He's saying we are the Israelites. This is not our first time being enslaved. If you're actually an Israelite in America, we're enslaved here, but we were enslaved back there. We've been enslaved pirate. That's what he's trying to say. I just so everyone follows. This is why I wanted to play this clip. I know it's a little bit rambly. I'm going to play a little bit more. I'm going to switch over to the panel.
And a lot of people keep saying, well, then we were Egyptians. No, the fuck you wasn't.
What? I don't get this guy. He's talking about, no, we wasn't Egyptians. Why he's rocking the Eye of Ra with a pyramid? I don't know what's happening. But nonetheless, Morpheus, go ahead. Here we go.
The original tribes that were enslaved, that keep on being enslaved because they are under a curse.
Hear that?
Are not the same as the folks, even the black ones, not the invaders that live there now. Those ain't no goddamn Egyptians. Those are occupiers. I'm talking about the original folks that came from the Sudan and Ethiopia that migrated up that way. If they compare their skulls against the folks over here that were African slaves, no. They're not going to teach you that because they don't want you to realize they sitting on your land. All this land they got. Come on now. No, you came from over there. Because they done killed everybody else.
Okay, back to the panel. Oops, this is the wrong one. I got from a different show. My bad. Back to the panel.
Okay.
Okay, I think you guys heard that. I did some running commentary. Alfredo, you're still a tad close. Adam, I saw you smiling. What do you want to say about the NFAC leader we just witnessed? Grandmaster Jay.
Yo, I mean, it's wild, man. It's like trying to keep up with him, swapping between different belief systems and I guess like systems of teaching. Like it's kind of hard to track, which way he's gonna go next. Like I wondered if he was. I mean, I hear what you were saying about the Hebrew Israelite part, but I kind of wondered if he was, dipping into the Moor science a little bit, talking about people that was already over here. I mean, because I know they get into that somewhat.
I said every alternative urban spirituality in the past generation. I was only mildly exaggerating. I do think that's some of that there. However, once you hear Edomites and 12 tribes of Israel and being enslaved under a curse, that's Hebrew Israelism. I mean, we all know that. This is basically, this is weird. This guy's like regurgitating back to us all the weird stuff we study. It's like, this is what, this is your brain on
but he didn't necessarily say they were enslaved in America. He said, you guys were enslaved in the Portuguese, you were enslaved over here,
because he said
enslaved over there.
You weren't first enslaved in America. He says he was trying to. I heard the way I heard is, it wasn't first being enslaved in America. It was before too, and he's referring to other enslavements that Hebrew Israelites point to. You see what I'm saying?
Right. But that kind of ruins the whole One West Deuteronomy 28 thing, right? Because
he said he says you don't understand we're under a curse. He said that. He specifically said,
that's true.
You don't understand we're under curse. That's Deuteronomy 28 type idea.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the man's consistent. I'm just saying, to listen, I know Hebrew Israelites are going to watch this and not really watch it. And they're going to say, Vocab had a couple of, uncles on there. And they was over there saying that these armed militia are Hebrew Israelites. That's what they're going to say. And the title of the show is literally NFAC, Hebrew Israelite Militia. No, not really. Right? That's literally the title of the show.
Right.
However, we can detect the signs of Hebrew Israelism as well as some other stuff. So you guys talk about the other stuff. What else did you hear?
Well, I mean, I thought it was interesting. I mean, he did have a following prior to this weekend, like you said, but I thought it was interesting that he felt the need to be responding to these people who were I guess he felt like going to fuss at him for calling himself black and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, I can imagine he's kind of walking this tightrope, you know what I mean, between all these different people groups that he seems to be trying to appeal to, you know what I mean? I mean, the more groups you add on, I would imagine the harder it gets to do that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, like you said, he said that we weren't Egyptians, but he's rocking, the IRA. I'm saying we were enslaved by the Greeks, but then he's got Nike going on. I think I want to say Nike. I think that's a Greek goddess.
Nikeo. It means victory.
Yeah.
Yet Nikeo is
Right,
means
the goddess of victory.
Yeah.
Goddess of
Right.
victory.
it's literally that's
So he's representative. He's a representative of every different group apparently that enslaved our people. I guess other than maybe Western white people. I guess here in the Western world maybe. But it's just weird. I mean, it's just this cobbling together, and like you said. He said something really fascinating. I mean, it just like slipped my mind just like that quick. Where he was talking about the 12. In 1 minute he's talking about the 12 tribes, and I wonder. And I'm not saying I could be completely wrong. I know I'm rambling. I'm trying to get around to what I'm trying to say. I wonder if it's not so much a matter of him subscribing to these various different belief systems, but just an awareness in that he wants to recruit as many people to his movement as possible. So he feels like he has to give some breadcrumbs here, there, and everywhere in order to kind of, draw people in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of wondered about that. Like, is there some intention here?
I'll get with you, Alfredo, just a second. I got to do
agree
some
with
house
that.
cleaning. We're going to time out Tyrone James. Unless I'm misunderstanding what Tyrone James is saying. Looks like to me he's saying stuff we're not going to let him say in here. D-New, do you see that? So Tyrone James, go ahead and time him out. Tyrone James, you're not going to call anyone that stuff. It's not even funny. And then real quick, shout out to Shawnee Miller. She's winning all the comments of the day. She says, NFAC, is this your king? Damon Richardson voice, LOL. And then she said, if syncretism was a person.
Oh, man.
But Alfredo, go a little bit more in the middle, and let's hear what you got to say.
I'm trying, man. This Wi-Fi is killing me.
Yes, sir. Don't talk about
How
your
you call
wife,
it?
bro.
So, he's stupid. He's stupid.
Oh, you said Wi-Fi. My bad.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, not Wi-Fi. You're a terrible person. Anyway, so like earlier I said, he's betting on everything black. He's rooting for everyone black, right? So, but what we found was him actually trying to literally syncretize all those things. And he's having a real hard time doing it. Because in his mind, he's realizing if I go too far on the Hebrew side, the Kemetic dudes are going to be upset. If I go too far here, the Moor is going to be upset. So what we actually saw was him freestyling, trying to cobble together all these different paradigms in real time in that video. That's what we were seeing.
Mm-hmm. Now, I got some more videos to show, and I think now's the time for the Big Daddy. So it's funny, Alfredo, I give props to you, as you often deserve. Everybody and their mom was sending me this NFAC video saying this is Hebrew Israelite, whatever. They were sending me all these Grandmaster Jay videos. However, you were the first person. The first video I got of this guy was from you. So literally, and then it was a whole bunch, but you beat everybody to the punch. So shout out to you, bro. You were the first one, man. You quick on the draw there. Now I'm gonna play.
Alfredo's omnipresent, man. He's omnipresent, bro.
Now here's what I'm gonna do.
I'm everywhere.
I'm gonna play this. And then this is 7 minutes, and it's got a lot of cursing in it. I'm sorry, everybody. He's going to curse, okay? There's no way to fix this. This is the video that led to us doing this. This is, can you guys kind of give some of the context of the Stone Mountain and your understanding of the background of this march? And again, this may be, besides military people, this may be the largest group of armed black men the United States has ever seen in one place. I mean, I don't know the facts or figures, but it looks larger potentially than what the Panthers were doing. This is a lot of people. So some people are like, why are you, I mean, I could see people watching this, like, why are you covering this guy? What's going on? When I play this video right now, you understand why. But can you guys give some of the background, your understanding of the background?
Oh, yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah. But what's your understanding?
Just real quick. I mean, when you think about the I Have a Dream speech, you know what I'm saying? You hear, Dr. King refer to, let freedom ring in Stone Mountain of Georgia. That's like one of the high points of that speech. And it's because Stone Mountain is emblematic of the KKK. I mean, that's their old stomping grounds. You know what I'm saying? That's where they really got down. It's like the headquarters, if you will. Like,
isn't that
it's
where
kind
the
of
rebirth? Isn't that where the second iteration happened? I thought the guys went up and made some kind of pact at Stone Mountain. I think the rebirth after the Birth of a Nation movie I thought that's where that second
Like
version
reinitiated
happened.
there, yeah. I don't know if that's part. Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, somebody might argue it's mythology, maybe,
He
but
mentions it's.
I think that's right.
He
But
calls it the birthplace of the KKK. I think it's where the second iteration. You know, Adam, this is. I never actually put. This sounds dumb. I never put it together in my head what you just said. That Dr. King said that, and I never actually even. Sheesh. That's why we have you on. Jeez.
Yeah, because Dr. King, and that's the point I was making. Because if you listen to that refrain, that portion of Dr. King's speech, he's calling out, the rolling hills of New Hampshire. So he's basically calling out different places that are emblematic of something about America. Mm-hmm. And then he says, Stone Mountain in Georgia, because it's emblematic of the KKK and kind of like you said, that resurgency of, racial hatred. Essentially, it was like. The logo, if you will. You know what I'm saying?
My understanding now is the same guy who did Mount Rushmore carved Lee and everybody into the side of the mountain. They're there.
That's what I heard. Yeah, that's
I've
what
seen
I heard.
the picture. I mean, they're like sitting down, but I'm saying the part that I heard was that it was the same guy who did Mount Rushmore.
Same guy.
Yeah. I haven't verified that part yet, but it's like a little picture of them sitting down or something. The Confederate
I could be wrong about that, but that's my understanding.
Davis, Stonewall, and Lee, I think.
Yeah. So it's like the, I guess the Confederate Mount Rushmore, maybe, or whatever that would be. I mean, for this guy to stage this, protest in that place is definitely emblematic. It's definitely symbolic of clashing with, I guess you could say the heart of racism. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what he was going for. So. There's definitely a history there, and I don't know if Alfredo, if you wanted to add to that, but I mean, this guy knew what he was doing. It wasn't like he just picked a random spot. You know what I'm saying? Like this is
because when you watch the video and you see them kind of like walking up a roadway with trees, if you don't know, you're like, why are they there, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But just to let everyone know, they had previously went to Minnesota, according to Grandmaster Jay. They went to Minneapolis as well. And provided security for Aubrey's mother when she wanted to go into that neighborhood to do like a balloon releasing ceremony. They provided security for her, and there are pictures of that.
Well, I mean, that's
legit. Right? We're okay with that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I have no problem with that at all. I mean, that's kind of more along the line of maybe the more positive aspect of the Black Panthers back in the day, just providing armed support, which is there's nothing illegal about that. With that being said. I think it really speaks to this following that this guy has been able to amass. I mean, he's in these different places. He's not just like in one spot, like one locality, stirring up some stuff. He's getting around. He's making some rounds, man. And so it's something that definitely needs to be, I think, paid attention to, and which I think is why it's so important that we're having this discussion. But yeah, Alfred, did you want to hop in there?
No, you got it. That was great. So.
Well, you know what? Since you mentioned that. Let me see if this is the flyer I need to show. Yep, that's it. Okay. So if you guys look on your screen, sorry it's in front of Alfredo's face and part of Adam's face. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
If you look, this is the flyer for the event. It says the NFAC, July 4th, 2020, Black Guns Formation, 12 p.m., Stone Mountain, Georgia. And look at the other place, ladies and gentlemen. Phoenix, Esteban Park. I know exactly where 33rd Street and Rozier is. This park is at 33rd Street and Rozier. It's on the south side. Farrakhan has a house actually close over there that he inherited from Elijah Muhammad, because Elijah Muhammad had a house on the south side of Phoenix. It's the sort of historically black neighborhood area here in Phoenix, Arizona. I didn't know it was going down. I would have went over there and saw what was up, right? But I saw this after the fact. But it's wild to me. The two places this happened are Stone Mountain, Georgia, and here in Phoenix on the south side. Mm-hmm. Now, we don't have...
That's wild.
I haven't seen video footage from the Phoenix one, although I'd be interested in seeing it. But this one we're about to show is the one that made the news. But any other comments before I play this video? And what I'll do is, you guys, I know you have a tough situation with the listening, but you say, hey, Vocab, could you stop it right there? And if you want me to, I'll stop it at points, because it's like a 7-minute video, but we really need to play this. So, with that being said, you guys ready? Here we go. All right. I'm going to turn this up as loud as I can get. And again, guys, they're will be some cursing here. All right, here we go.
It's not time for me.
I'm 60 years old. Ain't scared of a damn thing. I've been waiting for this shit for years. That part.
It is only appropriate.
Everybody, this is Grandmaster Jay giving a speech before they do the march. He begins with Hebrew Israelism. Now, again, he is not a Hebrew Israelite proper because of his massive syncretism. And he refers to Hebrew Israelites as they. So he's not a Hebrew Israelite, but he's embraced key tenets of Hebrew Israelism. He literally begins his speech with Hebrew Israelism tenets. So as you watch the rest of this, think about this. Out of all the things Grandmaster Jay could have said at this monumentous event, he begins it with some kind of appeal to the 12 tribes chart and the 400 years prophecy, which we've both covered in detail as well as Adam and BK apologists have. So listen to this. Here we go. I know the volume's a little low. The volume's a little bit low, but I got it as loud as I can. Okay, here we go.
That after 400 years, as prophesied, the tribes of Israel, all 12 of them, you enslaved us, you degraded us, raped our women and our men, stole our history, stole our religion, and now you're trying to steal our lives, but you want us to believe they matter. You can kiss my ass right in the crack.
Mine too.
Me too.
So it's only appropriate, y'all, that we go to the source. For all y'all out here who don't know, this is the birthplace of the Ku Klux Klan. This is where they were born after they were destroyed. Just for you. Everything you've been seeing, the police, discrimination in housing, a fucked up education, fucked up banking system, fucked up politics, are all tied to the KKK. You don't believe that, you don't know shit about this country. So what we gonna do is we gonna pay a visit to their home. Because we ain't talking to the police no more. They just work for the KKK. We ain't talking to the government no more because they are the KKK.
That's right.
We ain't talking to the banks no more because they are the KKK. We ain't talking to most white people because y'all are the KKK.
Oh, none of them.
Don't tell me that you ain't never been a slave on a motherfucker. I ain't never been a slave.
That's right.
But you riding around in my car.
That's right.
Won't even let me ride in the motherfucker right.
Hallelujah.
So I'm not talking to them no more. I want the heart of the Ku Klux Klan to hear me no matter where the fuck you are. I'm in your house.
That's right.
Where you at? You made a threat. We don't threaten. We don't scare.
Yeah. Let me see what time we've got on the video so I can. Here, I'm gonna put your face up. Let me do this. All right, guys, I'm gonna bring up Adam, and he's gonna add some commentary to what we've seen so far. There's like I think a minute or so left of this. Okay, you're on the screen, Adam. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, so one thing I think is interesting that we see in the conscious community all the time is this kind of undercurrent of conspiracy theorism. You know, now basically what often happens is you see where maybe there's a kernel of truth somewhere in something, and then there's like this extra added layer of conspiracyism and that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what I think you're seeing here with the KKK. Like, I agree that obviously the KKK has been, probably the most prolonged, or I guess the old kind of your most active and oldest terrorist group here in America, recognizing that Unfortunately, they're not recognized as such, officially. But I mean, they've been doing some terrorist work for quite some time. So I mean, it's not like they aren't a real threat. And it is true that you have at least some of them, have invested time and energy into kind of working their way into the system. But then when you take some element of truth, then you add on this notion of like, well, all of y'all or most of y'all are the KKK or most of the government is the KKK. That's when I think it starts to get kind of blurry. But I feel like it's attractive to people who want to, who have those itching ears, if you will, in regard to the emotional scarring, that has come about through this country's racial history. I mean, like the ground work has been already laid by a number of different things for somebody to come along and just kind of scratch that emotional itch. And it's very compelling. It's very compelling. And I kind of, just kind of end this part out, but I wonder, it was kind of wild. There was a dude who said hallelujah at one point. I don't know.
Weird. It was right after he's dropped the MFer.
Yeah.
He dropped the MFer. Hallelujah. Can you imagine that at a Dr. King speech? Oh, mother, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. It's like, whoa. You know what I mean? But, then you have people, he said, you can kiss my whole A right in the crack, and people are amening it. And co-signing it.
How bizarre is that, right?
Yeah, it's just, but I feel like that's kind of, that's, I'm trying to think of a way to put it. Like in movements like these, I'm not saying that the whole conscious community is like that, but I think that people who have genuine mental health problems and are generally unstable and wouldn't do well in normal social settings, they can find themselves a spot in movements like these. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a prime opportunity for somebody who's not wrapped too tight to gain a following. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's really speaks to the overall context of what's going on in our culture right now. It gives room for individuals like this, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think 2020 was tailor-made for Grandmaster Jay.
Oh yeah, man, obviously, but I just think it's just weird. I mean, it's kind of getting beyond syncretism, and it would bring. I think put it this way. I think what brings the syncretism home for everybody who may be at this event, but they may not subscribe to all the stuff that he's saying on YouTube. But he's tapping into that common experience. You see what I'm saying? And he's gaining traction through this common oversensitivity to conspiracyism. You know what I mean? And it's almost like attributing more power to one's oppressor or abuser than what they actually have. I think that can be not only dangerous, but it really can hinder people from moving forward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it
can hamstring you.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Facts, son. All right, we'll play this, and we'll be sure to get Alfredo's comments as well. Play this video. I think there's like a minute something left. Here we go, everybody.
Because we don't care.
And we don't fuck around.
You threaten us, we gonna threaten you.
That's right.
You said you're gonna start shooting white people at 8 o'clock, we gonna start shooting, black people at 8 o'clock, we gonna start shooting white people at 8:05. Threat, counter threat. Because threats don't mean shit to us. Y'all been threatening us since Birmingham. I ain't seen shit. Well, it's July the 4th. And all you scary ass Negroes that pass that shit around, look at what the fuck you did. You made blacks come out. I don't see no white militia. So to the boogie boys, the 3%ers, and all the rest of you scared ass rednecks, we here. Where the fuck you at? We in your house. Let's go. NFAC, motherfucker. NFAC. I take care of it. Now let's go ahead and see who's really crazy. I love this.
Now, there's some other clips from the actual march I could show, but I want to bring back our panel real quick here, give them a chance to comment on what we've heard so far. I know their audio's a little bit delayed, but all right, Alfredo, all right, Adam Coleman, you got to hear some of it. I don't know what other clips you've seen from the march itself, but thoughts?
I don't know. I'm thinking if I'm a Hebrew, I think I would feel some type of way, honestly, because he's appropriating a lot of the lingo, but he's not making an actual commitment to the actual belief system, right? He's just taking stuff that he's heard that again, it's scratches that itch in people's ears. You know, so he's saying things that's popular right now. But he's not necessarily making a commitment to it, because no Hebrew is going to co-sign any kind of Egyptology. That's just not going to happen. Right. So if I'm a Hebrew, I'm going to feel some type of way about what he's doing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. In fact, once Adam gives some comments, I'm going to go to share screen mode, and I'm going to show you guys some stuff that Hebrew Israelites got to say about him. Just a second here. Let me see if I could. Let me see. I might go there. All right, Adam. Yeah, I'm going to bring these up right now. Adam, you can be heard. You can't be seen. I'm gonna go to show people some of exactly what he was just saying, but I'll put your face on the screen, Adam, while I bring this up. But Adam, you have other thoughts about the whole kind of clip, and I don't know if you saw other clips from the march. There's a lot more there. That was sort of just the speech, part, but there is, of course, a number of other parts there that you could see. But
yeah,
Adam.
Well, yeah, I mean, just real quick. I mean, think about like biblically speaking. I'm going to try to hope to make this example make sense, but think about the people that follow Jesus. Like a Peter, the sons of thunder. I mean, these are people that were probably some rowdy folks. You know what I'm saying? From what we can glean from the scriptures, and imagine if they didn't have a shepherd. They still would have been the quality of people that they were. They still would have been kind of rough and tumble, probably violent or whatever, just misguided. And they probably would have found some other, somebody else to follow and maybe channel that energy in the wrong way, And I think that's kind of what we have is like, we've got what I see is a crowd of people that, number one, need Jesus, and they need to be discipled. They need to know what can I do with this anger that I have. And saying, what can I do with this anger that I feel in a way that is potent against injustice, potent against oppression, but at the same time, not basically regurgitating what they've imbibed from what they believe to be an oppressive culture and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Like, why become what you hate? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you become what you hate, then ultimately, whoever it is, whether you overpower your oppressors or not, they've ultimately won, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you've lost the ultimate, the greater battle, if you will, you know what I'm saying? And so I think that's kind of, what I'm seeing is now where I'm going with it that is this is where is the church? You know what I'm saying? I've been hearing a lot of talk about, Black Lives Matter and critical race theory, and people are very concerned about these things. And, I'm not trying to give credence to them. I don't subscribe to any of the tenets of that are problematic anyway in terms of Black Lives Matter, the organization. But my point is, if the church is not, well, put it this way, nobody should be louder in society about justice, goodness, and righteousness than the church. Nobody should be. Nobody should be louder about what's right than Christians. But if we abdicate our position in the public square, and we just basically step aside, then we leave, open room for individuals like Grandmaster Jay. You know what I'm saying? And, other folks, to step in. Somebody said something interesting. I can't remember what I was, I can't remember who it was I was talking to, but they made a very interesting point where they talked about Dr. King. It was this, and I'm not sure if it's true or not, but somebody claimed that it could be that his movement was so powerful, his nonviolent movement was so powerful, given that there was a very real possibility of a violent upheaval among Black people, you know what I'm saying, if it were not for him, if you will. So it's like, okay, we take MLK, or you got to deal with, the Black Panthers and Malcolm X and so on and so forth. So it's almost like in a weird way, those two sides ultimately complemented one another. You know what I'm saying? And I said that to say, I think in this instance, I'm not co-signing, the NFAC, by no means, or BLM or anything like that. But I do think that it should, if we don't want to see groups like this flourish, then the best thing we can do is to rise up from a biblical worldview and handle these things in a righteous way. You know what I'm saying? But if Christians are going to sit back and just let the world, drive the car, so to speak, then I don't know if there's anything we can expect other than more groups like these. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we need to really be the light. You know what I'm saying? We can't put the light up under the bushel, so to speak. Does that make sense? Or?
Sorry, I was getting to the song. Hide it under a bushel. No!
Oh,
Yeah, no, it does make sense. Now
Right.
on your screen, everybody, in regards to what you just said, Alfredo earlier, and again, I co-sign, what Adam said. You go here and you look and you jump over here and YouTube, and then what we're doing right here is we're bringing up a search basically that says Grandmaster Jay agent, right? And here's what's fascinating about it is that I'm going to kind of recent things here, but what's wild is that the Hebrew Israelites were like sort of ahead of the curve. It seems like as far as knowing this guy, and so if you look, you start getting wow. So there's some troubling stuff here. NFAC leader makes the roll call. It's scalping season, but now you start to look and watch some of this stuff here where you get the Hebrew Israelites commenting on it. Look, Grandmaster 33, Jammaster Jay, Carnal Jakes. Now I know that's confusing everybody, but notice he's got a picture of the man who murdered George Floyd there, and this is somebody making fun of his name. But when a Hebrew Israelite says a carnal Jake, what they're saying is it's a black person who doesn't recognize they're an Israelite properly, and that they're carnal-minded, not doing things spiritually. So my point is, here's some Hebrew Israelite channels that view him as a carnal Jake, right? So they might call him Grandmaster Carnal Jake or something, which the name is close that he made fun of there. But I'm going to show you, it's all over YouTube like that. And all I did was say, let me look up the agent Grandmaster Jay is counseling you to your own destruction. And clearly a one Wester, the name ends in Yahushai. You guys see this? So I'm trying to show you guys, a lot of Hebrew Israelites do not co-sign what he's doing. Here's one called Agent Provocateur. And notice the Hebrew Israelites, it looks like a lot of them, well, I can't guarantee every one of these is a Hebrew Israelite account, but a lot of people were on to him all the way back from Minneapolis, because they're calling him an Agent Provocateur in Minneapolis. FBI, story behind Grandmaster Jay. That's also that's a House of David account there. Oh, look, yeah, it's a GMS account, though. I just looked at the description there. So it looks like a lot of GMS has clearly been against this guy for a while. Again, FBI relationship, calling him an agent. High-level agent activity. NFAC, Grandmaster Jay, and Simple Israelites. And here's another one, GMS Salt. And you just go down on, and Agent Provocateur hanging with Mr. Cooper isn't fooling anybody.
Wow.
They're saying he looks like Mark Cooper from the old 90s sitcom.
I mean, you can kind of see it though, right? I can kind of see it now that they say it. Yeah.
GMS, man, they be cracking me up, man. Y'all, Grandmaster Jay is a false prophet agent. The story behind Grandmaster Jay. Agent Provocateur, Grandmaster Jay leading Jakes to the slaughter. That's an interesting.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Yeah. Because the Hebrews don't want that kind of heat put on them. So yeah, they gotta disavow this dude quick. Makes perfect sense.
But here,
and what's interesting too is that now I think about it. So in the beginning of that clip, like you said, he starts off with some Hebrew Israelite stuff, and he talks about 400 years. We've been in bondage and so on and so forth, right? But I was just watching a video earlier with him today where he was basically debunking the notion that we've been, enslaved for 400 years. He said it like at least 3 or 4 different times, and he talks about how the transatlantic slave trade. I think he said it goes back to 1480 or something like that, and most of us didn't come to most enslaved Africans didn't come to America, but to the Caribbean. And he started kind of breaking down some timelines. It was actually, correct in that you don't have this 400-year type of a deal that some Hebrews like to say. So I think it's interesting that he said that in his own videos. And then now he's almost like debunked himself or something like that, because here he appeals to that 400 years, right off the bat, So that's.
I mean, it's hard. Yeah.
That I feel like there may be some intention here because he's not even being consistent with himself, and I guess when the rhetoric suits him, he'll appeal to something that he's previously, noted that is obviously false. Which I think is.
All right. So if you guys look,
are you sure? 'Cause I heard you.
Yeah. No, you can, but I'm.
Yeah,
muted.
I heard you too.
No, and you guys can, but it's muted out there. Okay. So This one's fascinating, though. What's on your screen now, everybody? If you look, it's a fascinating, very, very fascinating, because what it is this is the Army of Israel's page, and they apparently are down with it. So not all Hebrew Israelites are rejecting Grandmaster Jay. And the interesting thing is, I talked to the leader of this organization, and guess what? They're known for carrying around guns while rocking the camo, and they had some former members of their group kill, well, basically a guy murdered his girlfriend. He was like in his 40s, she was 19, and he killed her. And I talked to him afterwards. And I did a condensation video where the homie K-Dub did a little intro. It's called something like The Disturbing Ideology of Hebrew Israelites, and it focuses on Army of Israel. My point by saying that is, Army of Israel, who has 17,000 subs based out of Dayton, Ohio, they put NFAC, message to Minneapolis Police Department, we are tired of this ish, Black America, it's time. Now, the reason why I show you that is they premiered the video without commentary. What I'm saying is, some of the Hebrew Israelite camps are co-signing Grandmaster Jay, mirroring his video, and co-signing it. If you look at the comments, and they're mainly positive towards him. So I find that fascinating. I just want to bring that out so people can see that as well as we do look. And yes, it's true that primarily you have them, saying he's an agent and stuff like that. And that's what I'm saying. You see, look, your new sellout agent, Grandmaster Jay Part 2, hireling Grandmaster Jay. You see all this stuff. And so we bring that out. But notice that it's not everybody. This is just absolutely fascinating stuff. All right, so
would they refer to him as Grandmaster Jehoshai or something like that? Is that what they was?
Nah, man, because there's no J in the Hebrew, you know.
Oh, good point. Yeah, true.
But
my mistake.
Yeah, but I just.
vocab. I mean, we talked about this back when you had the New Jersey shooting. Some months ago now. We talked about how doctrine, bad doctrine, is all you need is one false step in order to really be into something truly dangerous. You know what I'm saying, all you need is for a sect of Hebrew Israelites to take their malicious rendering of the second coming and basically impose that on the here and now. You know what I'm saying, kind of take like some kind of preterist to it or something like that. That's all it would take. That's all it would take. And to be fair, I'm just saying that in any way where you have a mishandling of God's word, it could be a group of Christians, you know what I'm saying, who mishandle God's word and get off into some doctrine that can have some dangerous results. Anybody mishandling God's word, it can be disastrous, i.e. Slavery, or i.e. People today who are like the snake handlers and things like that. When you take God's word and you twist it and mangle it and do what you want to do with it, then historically we see that it yields some really bad results, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why orthodoxy, sound doctrine, not just following after somebody because you have itching ears or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Sanctification, so that the Holy Spirit is training you so you can rightly understand His word and walk it out. All those things are crucial. It's not just knowing a bunch of good stuff. It impacts how you interact with the world.
I mean, it's not a reach. Right, it's not a reach at all, because when it comes to at least the One West theology, they do preach a form of layaway revenge, right?
He got a layaway revenge.
It's revenge on layaway, because they're waiting for Yahweh to come to, So you already put on the table that you want revenge. That's already out there. So it's not far for someone to be like, well, I want to cash in on the layaway now. Why it's not that much of a reach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, facts. That's exactly right. So while everyone's talking, I'm showing clips from it so people can get a further understanding of what's going on. And so I'm just showing some different clips from the march and stuff there so people can see. Might play a couple more. And what's interesting is that you guys just mentioned, and I'm showing again, this is a short clip so people can understand further of why we're talking about this. You mentioned the shootings there in Jersey City in November of 2019. Well, our friend, Grandmaster Jay, he actually commented on that. So I have a video lined up where Grandmaster Jay speaks on that exact thing. And here's what's interesting. He spends his whole time going to bat for the Hebrew Israelites, right? So I'm going to play some of this video. And the whole time this video is going down, Grandmaster Jay is saying, hey, why is the media trying to falsely associate the Jersey City shooters there with this massacre, with this murder spree, right? Why are they trying to do that? My point is, he's caping for them in this video I'm about to play for you. And what's fascinating about that is, though, most of the Hebrew Israelites call him like a rogue and an agent and a hireling, and yet he kind of caped for them back in November. So the whole thing is really wild. The whole thing is bizarre. Hey, shout out to MJ Jackson, by the way. He's in the live chat everywhere I subscribe to his channel. He always makes good comments. But showing this video, trying to give you guys some other background and show this so you understand it. But guys, I'm going to play that video. Are you guys seeing any comments you want to interact with before I play that video? Because it's taking us a little bit different term. But I think it's important so we can understand further his ideology and whatnot.
I'm good. Go ahead.
All right, all right.
Nah, yeah, go for it. Yeah.
All right, so here it is. Let me line this joint up. I believe it's this one right here. All right, yep, let's see. All right, got it lined up. All right, and let me switch this camera. Okay. All right, so here is Grandmaster Jay, kind of what we call caping for the Hebrew Israelites back in November, and it's fascinating. And again, this is sort of definitive proof he's not a Hebrew Israelite proper himself when you listen to what he says here. However, as we've noticed several times, he is influenced by Hebrew Israelism due to his syncretism and even sometimes leads with it. Listen to this, everybody.
Let's elevate the game. Let's make the black people attack a certain group. And if they attack that group, we can use that as an excuse to disarm them. We ain't gotta disarm the white folk, but we can disarm the black folk. Well, what if we got them black Israelites? Right. You know them bruhs, sisters. They ain't never hurt nobody. Yeah, they talk.
No, he's not paying attention to say that, but what he's saying is like this is the media and the government scheming and plotting. That's what he's trying to say, just so everyone understands what he's saying, because that's a little bit, he does it in a certain kind of way, but that's what he's saying. So continue listening to this.
Oh, but they teach. If you ever see them bruhs on the streets, they be teaching. You understand what I'm saying? When the incident happened in D.C. where the white boy got in the Indian man's face because he had the drum going boom, digga, boom, and they
this dude is something else. So there, if you guys remember back in January of 2019, sometimes we forget 2019 had some crazy stuff happen too. But that's the situation there with the Covington high school kids rocking the MAGA hats. They were at a pro-life rally, and there was an Indigenous Peoples Day rally as well. And because of that, there was Native Americans plus pro-lifers plus Hebrew Israelites who came to troll them. And so it resulted in this frenzy, and things got turned out a little bit different. But watch this dude again recount the stare down there with Nicholas Sandman and Nathan Phillips. And by the way, the music is natural in his track. He made it there, so I can't get rid of it. The music's part of the video.
Streets, they be teaching. You understand what I'm saying? When the incident happened in D.C. where the white boy got in the Indian man's face because he had the drum going boom, digga, boom, and they tried to say he was a racist, he had to make America great hat on. They said that it was the black Israelites that started that. But they didn't get in nobody's face and they didn't get violent. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen these brothers on the streets of New York, in Harlem, on 125th Street, talking, teaching.
Notice that again, everybody. Where did he say? So the guy is familiar with a fair amount of history. I pointed out earlier the broader spectrum of Hebrew Israelism because he went back all the way to the original groups. Here he said, I've seen them in Harlem on 125th Street. So, you know, and by the way, I don't know if you guys notice, there's a little like ticker at the bottom where he's got like a news thing that keeps on flashing whenever he makes a point. That kind of makes the video a little more interesting. So check this out. And also shout out to all the GMS members. I see we got quite a few in the live chat. Shout out to y'all.
But I ain't never seen them get violent. Yeah, they believe what they believe. By dropping little hits. You know what I'm saying? This whole situation in New Jersey trying to be linked to the black Israelites because one of the shooters posted some anti-Semitic stuff online. Really? That's the measure of guilt these days.
So he's trying to say maybe David Anderson wasn't even really a Hebrew Israelite. I believe we have proved definitively on about 3 different programs he was clearly a Hebrew Israelite. He was a solo guy at the time. He got fed up with the camps. He had prior been messing around with ICGJC. But, you know, well, to be honest, Grandmaster Jay just doesn't know his research on this. He's just spotting a conspiracy theory. But continuing on.
Did anybody call an organization and ask if this man was on a membership roll? Did y'all go to a place and find out? Or did y'all went
Yes, the news and the police did those 2 things.
online? You sound about as stupid as my college professor used to tell me. If you tell me that your source of research is Google, I'm going to give you an F-.
Well, the most Hebrew Israelites I know get F-, bruh.
That's what they do to start the propaganda. Now,
well, it depends how you grade YouTube, if it's not just Google, but...
I know I called it out on my site. We got about 400,000 people over on Facebook that already done seen that, and it's still spreading. But I saw an article in CNN this morning, and the name of the article was, "Who are the Black Israelites?" This was right under the story about the update on the shooting in New Jersey. They see they trying to tie it together. Ain't no connection because listen, the Black Israelites. This is about a belief, yo. This ain't about something. This ain't the Panthers. This is not an organization, a military organization or a militant organization that's out to, and that's what they're trying to paint them as.
Nah, that's lone wolves. But organizations like yours are going to start to muddy the picture. And organizations, frankly, like Army of Israel, who's co-signing some of your stuff, who I interviewed the leader. So this is very enlightening. Hold on, we're going to play a little bit more. We'll get commentary from the panel. Hold up.
And then they can label anybody as being one of those people. You understand what I'm saying? The whole thing distracting us from what's really going on with the white folks. The white folks right now fighting each other because everybody wasn't cut in on the deal. You understand what I'm saying? Reflection. And the people who are going to reap the benefits or suffer the consequences is me and you. But I got to come on. I got to come on here and say it like this. Y'all can't let them do this. Do not believe that bullshit. Do not do it. There are white people.
All right, yeah, this video is definitely getting demonetized. Let's bring back up Adam Coleman and Alfredo Valentin, True ID Apologetics, and BK Apologists in the house.
He says get demonetized, bro.
This video done been demonetized. It came pre-demonetized out the package.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, again, man, it's just one of those things. I think was most alarming is I think there are certain kinds of people who know how to grab a crowd. You know what I'm saying? They know how to engage people to gain support, and he seems to have somewhat of that skill set. And I don't say that to his credit. He's tapping into a base. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to, draw in some Hebrew Israelites, and it looks like he's been successful to some extent. Like you said, it's kind of a mixed bag in terms of how they responded to him. But I just think it's really fascinating that he's just making all these assertions. Now, maybe it goes into some other videos, but, assertions about, it's, there's some white people he's saying that didn't get cut in on the deal and now all that kind of a thing. You know what I mean? So he's dipping into every bag he can, man. He's dipping into every bag he possibly can. You know what I'm saying? And I find that pretty interesting. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And
I was looking at that little the ticker thing that he has, right? And one of the moments it says global activists, right? And I think that's big because that's why he has to syncretize everything, because he sees himself as a global leader of black people. And he understands that black people have different paradigms. So he's smart enough to say, well, I need to engage enough in each of these paradigms so that all of them will be led by me. You know what I mean? So
Well, that's facts right there. I don't know if you guys can see on the screen. Maybe you can pull it up in the feed. If you can't see it on the share screen, maybe you can pull up the feed. It is written, It is our time. The 400 years are up. Energy has shifted for the 12 tribes. So what he's saying is the fulfillment of the prophecy is the energy has shifted.
Yo, that's like half Wakanda and half Hellraiser.
Well, I was going to say a third Wakanda, a third Hellraiser, and a third... What if I told you...
Right.
Let my people go or let my people grow. And so this is from the official Grandmaster Jay account, I believe, on Instagram there. And
well, I mean, but that point right there, though, you said that, you know, the 12 tribes, I guess, you know, he said the energy has shifted. That's like a quasi Hebrew Israelite comedic mix.
Yeah, that's
you know
what I'm saying? Right. Because it's energy, but yet it's got 12 tribes for 400 years.
I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't hear Hebrew Israelites talking like that, you know, for
not at all.
Or the energy, other than maybe, and I don't mean this disparagingly, other than maybe like a Zion Lex, you know what I'm saying? Somebody, he might, I can see him saying something like that. But for the most part, you know, with these camps and so forth, they're not talking about no energy and, you know, this shifted. And no. You're not going to hear that from them.
He's very well aware of how to brand oneself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's definitely aware of how to brand.
And I'm going to show some other things about him. So this is just different images I've taken from social media. This is what I was relating to earlier, where they provided, and this is one of the things it seems like we would want to say, hey, that's a good thing, right? Provided for the family of Ahmaud Arbery protection when they went into that neighborhood, right? And so, you know, okay, maybe more of that and less of this, you know? But I'm going to show a couple others. I'm going to show a couple others as well as I got some... Here comes the bogus Hitler quote.
Oh, snap.
Oh, man.
The fame.
The zombie memes. Memes. He never die.
He reposts the bogus Hitler quote that basically has Hitler being misunderstood and actually trying to recognize black Israelites in America.
Oh, Lord.
No, the soldier replied. And then Hitler says, the Americans are the Jews of God. How do you... The Americans are the Stalin, the God's precious Jews. I don't know how to do it. What do you mean, precious Jew? I can't do it. But watch this. Watch what Hitler supposedly meant. This is a bogus quote, by the way. But Hebrew Israelites love to pass it around. I'm like, consider the source. You're quoting a Hitler meme. Like, first of all, if it was true, it's Hitler. Second of all, it's a meme. Like, you gotta pick the wrong horse to bet on. It's a Hitler meme. Hitler said even his death, and look what it says. It's a part of the same thing. But look here at the bottom, it says, the Jews has stolen the Jews of God, his jewelry, the Negroes, they are the true Hebrews. So this is a bogus Hitler quote Hebrew Israelites like to share. Well, Grandmaster Jay likes to share it too. So he's in on their meme game as well, quoting
Yeah,
Hitler.
they try to... some actually do try to source it, and they try to use this Time Life book called The Nazis. Right? I have the book, and really? I always give them the PDF. It's like, you show me the page where that quote comes from, and then
Nice.
and then they disappear.
Right,
So.
nice. They get Casper. And here, check this out. This is from his Periscope. This was started in 2015, and look what it says: presidential candidate. Now, if he made this account in 2015, that probably means, because I haven't heard anything about him this time around, that means he probably ran, because I've seen another source that says this. It looks like he ran for president in 2016.
So wait, time out.
Claim of the gospel?
So we got Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Kanye West,
and John Fitzgerald.
Grandmaster Jay.
Two of them could have a rap battle.
Right. Man, this 2020 election is about to be wild, bro. This is gonna be lit as possible.
I think, though, to be fair, I think this is, since he created the thing in 2015, I think when he made the profile, he was talking about 2016, because I want to show you guys something on your screen.
It's never too late, man.
Yeah.
You know, you got-
Yeah, look at Kanye, right? Look on your screen. It says work, War on Racism Coalition Director. So apparently in 2015, Grandmaster Jay was not leading the Not Effing Around Coalition. He was leading the Work, War on Racism Coalition. Activist, hip-hop artist, proclamator of the gospel.
Right.
And if this is accurate, his real name is John Fitzgerald. Now, that could be a pen name, as it were, you know, like, because, I mean, it sounds, you know, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, you know. I'm just saying it could be a fake name, or it could be his real name. I haven't really looked into it. But isn't that fascinating?
That's wild, man. Yeah, that's really wild. I mean, so I guess maybe he's just, it's almost like somebody who's been, you know, radicalized. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he was kind of dabbling, and now he's on some old other stuff. You know, he went from working to not effing around, man. You know what I'm saying? It's
stupid.
It's a pretty, that's a pretty big shift, man.
So here's this earlier flyer where they went to Brunswick, so he's been kind of trying to do this thing. It looks like this was the biggest one that first kind of caught on, you know. So my guess is this is not the last we have seen of Grandmaster.
Oh, he's going viral now, so yeah.
I think he's gonna be back around. Let me show you some other things I've taken from his Instagram. Oh wait, that's Ice Cube's Instagram. Sorry, wrong guys. The picture was small.
We all look alike, vocab. Is what you're trying to say? What's going on?
No, it's a screenshot of an image. It has nothing to do with the
From
person.
NFAC to NWA.
Right.
Man, no, let me look and check. Now I gotta check that.
I mean, while you're looking for that, I want to say too that I think that and I don't want to, you know, sound redundant, but or be grandiose, but I think this is why urban apologetics is so important.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that when we're dealing with these different ideologies, these different worldviews, there's definitely eternal implications, obviously, because if you reject Christ, if you reject the gospel, then you're eternally done. You know what I'm saying? And by Christ, I recognize that we have some Hebrew Israelites in the chat. So I mean the fullness of Christ, as in, you know, his full divinity, the whole nine. You know what I'm saying? What the Bible actually says about him. If you reject the entirety of what the Bible has to say about Jesus, then you're I would say in peril, you know, eternally speaking. But with that being said, also worldviews matter in that they have real world implications. You know what I'm saying? Like how you interpret the problem of evil, how you interpret suffering. What do you believe about the way the world actually, as it actually is? All those things factor into how you live your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, your beliefs aren't distinct or separate from how you live. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so when I think about that, W.E.B. Du Bois, the souls of black folk, you know what I mean? I think we're competing for the souls of black folk on at least those two levels, both eternally and for the here and now. Because I'm telling you right now, if for some reason, some ideology that is bent on, there being some sort of civil war of sorts, you know, and were to gain some prominence in the black community, it's only like 13% of America right now. Essentially, you'll probably be looking at the extermination of Africans in America. You know, I mean, you can't afford for there to be some sort of civil war. Aside from that, if we are gonna not, resort to that kind of jihadist mentality, then we need to have a constructive way towards, building our community. And I think the only way you can do that is have a solid framework, i.e. the biblical framework to build on. But with this guy here spitting, he's not giving you a worldview that you can live by. You know what I'm saying? He's just venting his frustrations and giving other people a platform or outlet to do the same. That you can't build a community off that.
Yeah. And here he is back in 2014, the Phoenix protest here in Phoenix. And he says, the difference between me and everybody else in hip hop is I'm writing songs from the front lines. They hiding in the studio. So I see he's also humble is also one of his traits. He's also there. But check this out. I sent you guys this. I think I accidentally sent it off radio like 80 times. My bad. But look at this screenshot. Again, he has a post on his Instagram
Oh, I saw this.
that says the so-called Caucasians, Edomites, and they're all partying Wayne, party on Garth at the bottom there. So
Crazy.
yeah, like this is like a,
I
you
think it
know,
said something like Black Pope in there, something like that. Didn't it say something about? I want
I
to.
don't know.
I'm pretty sure, like in the middle, it says something like about the Black Pope or something.
I see. There's yeah. But I don't think that means like black like that. It means like some other kind of thing. But if you notice the Black Pope, Adam, he's holding a picture of Chester de Borgia.
right.
He's holding a good old picture of Chester de Borgia.
Right.
Yeah, and let me just show a couple more. I'll show a couple more here. Because, you know, and this is like, it takes a lot of work, you know, you're like going through someone's social media, try to understand what they believe and whatnot. But it's interesting. Look at this reading list. Nephilim, the period and the apocalypse, power of the people, the world of the Black Panthers, and the Jewish Study Bible.
Wow. Wow.
That's an eclectic...
Quite.
Because he takes pictures of what he reads, and that's how you came upon, you know, some of the stuff you came upon, Adam. But I'm sorry, Alfredo. I'm gonna show a couple other things of, you know, the policing the black man, Imhotep the African, brainwash, the destruction of black civilization, the Jewish Study Bible, and the New Covenant Aramaic Peshitta text with Hebrew translation.
It's covering all the bases.
And William Lane Craig's On Guard.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. He thought On Guard meant something else. He thought it was a different kind of book.
Right. He's like, what the hell is this?
I'm not NFAC, man. Okay, yeah. So there's some other ones, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and books by Jeff Chang, who is very fascinating, who wrote a good book on hip-hop, actually, on its history, as well as Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, a whole bunch of ones you can really look through. I'm going to show one more to get a sense of this. But when he's on there, he is not, he's pretty arrogant and calling himself, he constantly says he does real exegesis and that he's a theologian and these other cats don't understand.
You got Sitchin. You got a bunch of Sitchin.
He's got.
Man.
We're gonna do a show on this, aren't we? Aren't we, Alfredo?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. What are we gonna talk about? What is the date of that? I forget. Coming up here, like so, it's like next week, or is it this weekend?
Yeah.
Or is it this weekend?
Yeah.
No, it's this weekend. This weekend, guys, on the channel someday. Me and Alfredo, BK Apologists, are gonna talk about aliens, UFOs, religion, and we're gonna be talking about some Sitchin stuff. So he's got that in there as well.
Bunch of it.
So you know, it gives you an idea, but I mean, there is obviously a lot going on, and I don't think this is the last we're going to see of Grandmaster Jay or people like him. And so the weird thing is, while GMS is trying to do the, what'd you call it? Revenge on layaway? What'd you call it?
Yeah.
While
revenge on layaway.
While they're doing that rhetoric, like BK Apologist said, revenge on layaway, no matter how hard they try, I think we're going to see these Hebrew Israelite influenced guys wild out from 2020 and from now on, basically. And I know GMS and those guys are going to constantly saying they're carnal, we're not down with that. But here's the thing. There's going to be guys who are influenced to varying degrees, and some I think are going to be a lot more sort of faithful in their Hebrew Israelism. So this guy's clearly all over the map, but I think you're going to get some other guys. And the reason I'm not just making random predictions, everybody listening, Army of Israel is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, because that's a Hebrew Israelite camp I'm familiar with. I had the guy on from the show, and his other number 2 in command called in. We had a conversation. You can hear for yourself. I'll try to link it. Dinu, if you could link that. I know there's other mods. I keep on seeing your avatar, Dinu, so I'm sorry. I'm not asking everybody else. You know, could you link that we had with the Army of Israel leader? He co-signed the Grandmaster Jay. So, like, clearly, like, there can be some synergy with this, which is bad. Go ahead.
But no, really, I mean, just kind of co-signing what you're saying, actually. I think that if we have to understand the relationship between sanctification and God's word. You know what I'm saying? It's the work of the Holy Spirit working on our hearts, sanctifying us, that enables us to continue to draw from his word rightly, to discern the word correctly. You know what I'm saying? Divide the word correctly, excuse me. So here's the thing: in the absence of that sanctifying work of the Holy Spirit, then there's really no reason to think that people are going to be able to consistently divide the Word of God, right? So they're going to come to wrong conclusions one way or the other. And here's where I'm going with it. If you have a person who's already, like GMS, for example, where you have this vengeance-ridden, vengeance-laced perspective of what the end times are going to look like, to where it's really about, taking whatever it is, angst on the inside of you, and be able to kind of vent that into the end times, what I'm saying, and read that into the scriptures. Well, you're sowing seeds of vengeance into whoever it is that you're teaching that to. So the seeds are already there. You know what I'm saying? Now, if this guy, Grandmaster Jay, I said Grandmaster Jay, you know what I'm saying? If Grandmaster Jay comes along, he's tapping into those same seeds of vengeance that was already sown into these individuals through false doctrine. So they're really working off the same, base, I guess, framework of deception, if you will. So in other words, what it's like. Let me put it this way. You know how the scripture says that one plants the seed, another one waters, but God gives the increase. It's kind of like, Hebrew Israelites, in particularly the strain I'm talking about that teach vengeance through the end times, like GMS and some of these other groups. They're sowing seeds. Grandmaster Jay is coming along the water, and Satan is going to give the increase. That's what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? In that scenario, kind of using an analogous sort of a way. And so they're really shooting themselves in the foot by setting the stage for something. There will always be room for Grandmaster Jay to draw away their members, as long as they're sowing seeds of vengeance, hatred, and so forth into their members. There's always going to be another guy who's going to offer them, offer you, the shortcut. Say, yeah, you can wait to the end times, or you can strap up and we can go out to Stone Mountain right now. You know what I'm saying? And if you're dealing with fleshly people, they're not going to have the restraint by and large, I would think, to say, well, now I'm going to just hold out. Eventually you're going to have people who are going to take them up on it. So that's why it would make sense for Hebrew Israelites to want to oppose, Grandmaster Jay, because he's a direct threat to their ability to gain members. I'm saying it's deceivers fighting other deceivers for membership. That's really what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I wish I could say it's something different, but that's what's going on. And so we'll see what Alfredo has to say too after this, but I need to say something that brought to my mind real quick. There's a couple sort of left wing, kind of leaning folks I follow on Twitter. And the reason is because they have an interest in like racially extremist groups, is how they categorize it. And so even though I don't agree with some of their stuff, they sometimes do other kinds of good work, right? And so I follow them to kind of get this other kind of perspective and view to understand their angle on it. And one of the guys, his first name is Mark. I forgot his last name off the top of my head. He works for one of these organizations. He had tweeted about the situation, real brief, right? And this is a left-leaning guy. Like he seems like he's probably an atheist, definitely a secularist. My point by saying that is, I said, someone tagged me in the thread. They put Vocab Malone, we need you, right? I was like, let me go look at this Twitter thread of this guy who has a pretty well-known following in specializing in these areas and is left-leaning. I'm saying that for a reason. So I went through the thread, and I don't think Trump supporters, that's sort of the stereotype of the person I'm about to talk about. I don't really think they follow this guy. I don't think it's that kind of, because he's not that kind of guy. He's like anti-Trump, this guy. But the people that were commenting on this thread, it wasn't all. It was heavily doused in racism. My point is, it's disturbing when I'm trying to have a real conversation about these serious things, and I go on there and it's a bunch of like racist stuff. Like, let the military kill all these, and then some racial slur. And it was just literally nonstop. It was a long thread. There must have been 500 comments. It might have been up to 1,000 comments. And I scanned through a grip, and it was just filled with people responding with just his brief little talk about this with basically racism. And I was disturbed, and it makes me want to go to bat for people like Grandmaster Jay and NFAC, which the problem is I need to criticize key components of what they're doing, because there's problems there, just like you're talking about deception. But it's like, I wish I could root for what he could the best version of what he could be in this society. And when I read stuff like that, it's I don't want to say emotional, but it's basically is sort of an emotional reaction I have where I read it and then it makes me upset and angry and I'm like, well, I need it's a very frustrating experience. So look, the world's going to be the world and it's troubling. I wish they weren't like that. And I'm reiterating, this is on a left-leaning Twitter guy that I don't think has like people of the right really following this guy. I don't think he's not that kind of Twitter guy, because he just does. But to Christians, do not let that be like you. Do not respond to these kinds of things with if check yourself. If you it's one thing to think it, it's another thing to get on the internet and publicize it. So I'm just saying, if you call yourself a Christian, and I think very few people in this thread did, right, except for the person that tagged me in, don't be that kind of person. So it's just troubling. The reaction of the unregenerate heart is equally troubling as like some of this stuff, right? I'm glad no white militia came out and met them. Thank God, and I hope that never happens. Imagine if an unhinged version of some white militia comes out when these guys are out. Dear Lord.
Somebody's gonna die. Yeah, man. It's as simple as that. Somebody's gonna die, man.
Dear
Lord. And I think that there are times, it's like Ecclesiastes, under the sun, there's a time for everything. And I think there's a time to defend life, you know what I'm saying, when appropriate. But at the end of the day, I agree with MLK. Hatred doesn't drive out hatred. You know what I'm saying? Only love can do that. Darkness can't drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And so I think that, and by that, I'm not even saying, that you have to be a punk or something like that. I'm not saying that at all. But I do think that wisdom is always appropriate. No matter what the moment calls for, wisdom is always appropriate. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, as Christians, I keep coming back to it, man. Maybe it's because it's something I've been thinking a lot about. But, what are we going to do in this moment? What are we going to do in this moment? I'm going to be straight up. And I'm not trying to, diss anybody or anything like that. But, shoot, even on my own threads sometimes, you run into, people who claim to be Christians and say some really heinous things from a racial standpoint. You know what I'm saying? And, it's very difficult to spend all of my time dealing with Hebrew Israelites, Comedics, and so on and so forth, telling them about the gospel. And then, somebody hops on my thread and sees a white person exemplifying all the bad things that they believe Christianity is about. You know what I'm saying? Like, we really need to be real about that. Like, we really need to be careful about that, I meant to say. And then when it comes to, what's that?
No, he was just co-signing you. But, hey, while we're talking about all this, Muck the General says we're headed to a race war. Yahushua prophesied a race war. So there's some of the Hebrew Israelites there. So that's what I'm saying. That mentality is like the kind of thing that could create some of these exponential problems. Yahushua, this dude is saying Yahushua prophesied a race war.
Yeah, well, I didn't see that in scriptures, but now
they would go with nation rise up against nation. Is how they would.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got you. Well, I'll say this. And this is just a perfect example. Like, I'm not a pacifist. I'm not a person who says that there's never a time when you ought to defend yourself. I am saying that God has given us a vast array of principles in His Word. He's also given us the ability to reason. And I think that, given those things, we are always called to tend toward peace and reason, more so than obviously violence and so on and so forth. And with that being said, if there is something that needs to be done in the Black community, it's not to start a race war and then find ourselves exterminated. That's just stupid. There's no good reason to think that. What we need to do is, there's things that we can do economically, there's things we can do politically. I know that's not what this show is about, but I'll sum it up by putting it this way. People like Grandmaster Jay, I think, are outdated and morally lazy. I'm saying that's what I really believe about it. And what I mean by that is today, I'm saying we're not living back in the 60s, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not back in the 60s or 70s. Today, we have access to a number of different ways in which I think that our community can build and thrive. But we have to be morally and intellectually fit in order to build and avail ourselves of those things. It's easy just to be angry and go and say, I'm gonna just shoot it up. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody can do that. You know what I'm saying? That's not really doing nothing. It's just like a dude who, I'm not trying to be crude, but a man, I'll just say a man who sleeps with a woman and gets her pregnant. That's easy. The hard job is to raise a child. You know what I'm saying? The hard job is to raise a young man up in a way that he ought to go. And what I'm saying is, if we're going to see the raising of our community in a way that it ought to go, it's not going to come through just, let me just, pop off or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can stand your ground. You can be a man. Like, nobody's saying be a punk. But I'm saying I think real men stick around to build the community and not just want to be an H-Rap Brown, for people who understand that reference. You know what I'm saying?
For me, I feel like...
Before, I'm going to let you go. I'm just commenting to a live comment. Messianic Truth Live says, if Vocab Malone wants to know a genuine Messianic Hebrew Israelite and a polygynist, I'm the man to talk to. Hey, shout out to you, Messianic Truth Live. I'm willing to talk to you, but I don't know how interested or needing I am at this point in my life to know any more Messianic Hebrew Israelites and polygynists, but we could still talk nonetheless. But go ahead. I just want to make sure I comment to the live chat. Go ahead, Alfredo.
Yeah, I mean, since I've been on this conversation, the scripture that keeps coming to mind is 2 Timothy 4:3. For the time will come when people will not put up with sound doctrine. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. And, there are things, there's emotional itches, right? There's doctrinal itches. There's questions people want answers to. And the church is not scratching that itch. And if you don't meet that need, somebody else will show up and do that. And here's another example of this person who knows that people have itching ears. And these are different ears. And he's actually trying to scratch all of them at the same time.
That's a lot of ears, bro. He's trying to scratch a lot
of ears. Yes. Yes.
Yo, Bashara Hassana is the Hebrew Israelite who says Yahushua is the correct pronunciation and spelling for the Messiah. Jesus means earth pig in Latin.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
All right, bro.
So I think on that note, we'll close the show. Hey, shout out to BK Paul. Just tell people how to find your stuff, my man. Make sure they definitely subscribe.
Oh man, I mean, I'm on Twitter, BK Paul, just on Twitter. Catch me on Facebook, Fatal Valentine, and Facebook, YouTube, BK Apologists. Also sell urban apologetic inspired T-shirts on TeePublic. I'm sure somebody in the chat will put up the link. And I'm out here. I'm out on these YouTube streets.
Hey, on that note, when can we anticipate the release of the NFAC shirt? That's what I want to know. Like,
not on my website.
Yeah, buddy. Come on, man.
Not on my website, buddy.
You don't have anything in the works, man? You don't have...
No.
Yeah, bro. NFAC apologetics.
Oh man, I am not defending that. You can forget that.
Oh man.
All right. Well, I'm gonna close with some more footage from the march. I'm gonna make it a little faster than normal. So, and just to give you guys, I'm gonna put it 1.25 speed. But you guys will see some footage as we close out the show, just to basically scare you before you go to bed. Just kidding. But with that, thank you to the panel for coming through. You guys are always dope as usual. And
thank
sorry
you, sir.
for any technical difficulties, blah, blah, blah. But much love. You guys are awesome, and I always enjoy doing stuff with y'all. So with that, let's share this, and you guys have a beautiful, blessed night.
Thanks.
All right, everyone. I'm going to line this up. We're going to share this. Here we go. I just want you guys to get it full orbed, and we're closing out the show right now. All right. Let's see.
All right, cool. Uh-huh. Cool.
Let's roll. Hey, no problem, dog. It's okay. That's on y'all. Okay, what y'all doing is that we just going in and loop around and come back out. We just want to use the backdrop for it. That's all goddamn long. That's damn long. Then go to the then we gonna loop back. We good. Yeah, we got it's like maybe a quarter of a mile around. And we just okay, let's keep it moving. Come on, y'all. Let's do it. But they all leave. So they know we go. Yo, hold on. What is it? Now give me that wedge. Slow it down a little bit. Slow it down a little bit. You gonna take the whole loop? No, we ain't. You take the long loop. How long is it, y'all? We ain't gonna do the whole loop. You do the whole loop? Give us the shortest side. That'll work. Right when he started the hike at. Okay. I want to go with the white people. Go with the white people. What be left? What I'm saying. We'll have them celebrate independence. Take off. Slow it down, bro. You got people back in here walking, bro. Sure. Remember your heart. Ain't that up? Really. Like it goes back. You realize on the way back, you can't turn right here.